everyone, and welcome to another episode of Little Give. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from. Tell us what you're all about.
Hey guys, this is Jeremy Roadruck, and I am from my mom. And you guys are probably going to use that at some point, but currently residing in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, transplant from Ohio. And I'm all about BS, about belief systems, and about the stories we tell and the games we play, and how to affect change quickly in our hearts, our minds, our lives, our relationships, our businesses. Because to me, everything human beings do is only two things: it's the stories we tell, and it's the games we play.
Oh, wow. Wow. That was a quick little synopsis. You got us really thinking. How did you end up getting into this type of work?
The big long story is a big long story, but basically 5 and 6 years old, I had some stuff take me sideways, and I realized what people say, what people mean, and what people do are all different things. And sometimes they connect and sometimes they don't, but I didn't know who I could believe. So I kind of had to figure it all out for myself. So I grew up a lot with my back against the wall and studying everybody around me and what are they doing? Why are they doing it? What's the result? How is that impacting? And because of that, I put a lot of big, messy, complicated stuff together and made it really, really simple for people. I've worked with kids as young as 3 and as experienced as 94. And it's all about how we change the impact of our lives. And so the way I did that was actually through martial arts. And I ran a martial arts school and I taught falling safely workshops. And that led me into parenting, and it led me into the games we play at home that aren't always a whole lot of fun for everybody involved, but sometimes we keep getting stuck there. And that led me to working with parents, and that led me to working with now men and couples on their relationship. Because if mom and dad aren't in a great place, what are they going to give to the kids? It's going to be hard to do a higher standard. And so I went from basically me having some challenges. Martial arts became my way to get put back together again. And then I began to work on people and expand from there.
Oh, I would love to dive in and peel back the layers a little bit here, because it's one thing to go through some stuff and realize, these things, these intricacies of the three things you mentioned, those things are all different based on the different people and that. It's one thing to think like that, but then to take it and put into action to help other people is something else. Tell us how you made that stretch.
Yeah, the real cool thing is if you help everybody else to feel warm, big, and happy first, then they have that to give back to you. If you demand, manipulate, connive, threaten, intimidate, get them to make you feel better, good freaking luck, because you don't know what they have inside, right? People are kind of like tea bags. You put them in water and whatever's inside is going to get out into the environment. So if somebody is under stress, if they're yelling, if they're upset, if they're angry, dollars to donuts, that's what's going on inside them. So with that awareness, we have a choice. We can add to that tension and conflict, or we can take a deep breath. We can realize their behaviors about their needs. And so then it's like, how can I put some positive back into their world, into their environment? Let me at least not add more damage and add more drama. And that's really what I began to notice is what we give very often is what we get back. Not always from that person in the moment. It may be from somewhere else. But the way we like to say it sometimes is a lighted candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. So if you have some enlightenment, some light inside, shine that light, be that bright source, and you will get people around you to come towards you because of how you light them up, how you make them feel, because you're more accepting, more understanding, more appreciative. And so that's what I saw is if I change how I show up, it changes how they show up. And if I'm not giving them a reason to fight, we don't need to fight, which is fun when you're a martial artist, because the whole goal is conflict management and ultimately conflict resolution, right? If you're in a fight and you can change someone's heart and we become friends, no more enemies. And that's a very powerful skill.
Absolutely. So it seems like it would take a lot of emotional intelligence to really wrap your mind around that and get other people to come along with you. How is it that you teach other people who are maybe going through some conflict in their lives, or they're having some sort of struggle, and to you it's black and white because it's like, well, you're escalating the situation, or maybe you're reacting this way and that's why they're, reacting back to you in a negative way. How do you actually get somebody to understand that emotional intelligence component to get them to lower the other person's defenses?
Yeah, that's actually a really important skill to point out. And I don't know that I would always say I'm so great at emotional intelligence as I am physical intelligence. Because when you feel that tension inside, That's a wake up call. That's an alarm system saying, hey, something's not okay. And so generally what I'll do when I work with people or when I talk or whatever is, again, take that deep breath, because we have two nervous systems. We have a fight or flight nervous system, and we have a rest and digest nervous system. And when you're in fight or flight, then everything you see is a threat. You've got to be able to react to it. You got to be able to defend yourself. You got to be able to assert yourself. You got to be aggressive. And you got to get a dude. When you take that deep breath, it begins to pull you back into that rest and digest. You talk a little slower, you move a little more calm. And by you having literal physical space inside you to breathe, your tension goes down and the people around you can begin to back off of their tension. So sometimes, hey, I don't necessarily agree with what's going on, but let me take a deep breath. Let me help me understand, because obviously this matters to you more than it matters to me. You're really upset about this. So help me understand what's going on for you. And maybe I can show up in a different way. And the minute you create that space, right? Bob Berg wrote a great book called Giver's Gain. Let me give you room to breathe. And what's crazy is when I do, then I start to find room for me to breathe. So when I've got somebody high energy, high amplitude, let's, you know what? It sounds like you're really passionate about this. Let's take a deep breath. And then I spotlight them. You tell me more about what's going on, how you got here, how did that happen? And just by shining that spotlight, it's like, you're going to listen to me. I am listening. Tell me more. Oh, okay. And that's how we begin to take that temperature down.
That's such great information to know. Thank you for sharing that.
Hi, my name is Justin Clark, and I'm the president of the board of directors for Driving Single Parents, a 501c3 nonprofit serving the citizens of San Antonio and Bexar County, Texas. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the great work that our organization is doing for the citizens of San Antonio. What you're about to see is just a few photos and videos of the way that we're changing lives for single parents in and around San Antonio, Texas. Our first giveaway took place in April of 2017, just one short month after the formation of our organization. John, a Bexar County resident, was the victim of a horrible drunk driver incident. He and his daughter survived the crash, and we were so proud to give our first car to this deserving family. Fast forward to 2020, a very difficult year for nonprofits. We were able to secure 4 vehicles for single parents in need. Our organization, including our board of directors, list of partners, and portfolio of people we've been able to help in San Antonio, continues to grow, and it's all thanks to donors and local community organizations that have helped us along the way. This giveaway took place in 2021 and shows that we continue to help single parents even after the struggles brought about by COVID-19. Because of limited funds and the overwhelming need, we at Driving Single Parents are incredibly selective with the people we help. Some are victims of domestic violence. Others had a spouse pass away tragically or otherwise fell on hard times. These single parents show adversity in the face of challenge and aren't looking for a handout. We offer a hand up and help get them back in the driver's seat. Many of the single parents we help go on to graduate college, get promotions, get married, mentor others, and some have even been so touched by the gift we gave them that they have decided to join our board of directors to pay it forward and ensure the continued growth of our organization. If you would like to help our organization continue to grow and continue to help single parents in need in San Antonio, Texas, and Bexar County, Texas, we would really appreciate your support. Please visit us online at www.drivingsingleparents.org. Thank you.
What about somebody who's super defensive no matter what you say? I know that I've had several people recently reach out and chat with me about encountering people that are just super defensive. And I just was curious, what's your thoughts on how to de-escalate that type situation?
Sometimes in those situations, the best thing you can do is give yourself room to breathe by taking a step back. And unfortunately, sometimes you have to take a step out because somebody is so wounded, they're so in their place, they have judge, jury, execution. No matter what you say, you're at fault, you're wrong, you shouldn't exist. And it's like, hey, I'm sorry that for whatever reason what I'm doing is driving you to this place. I'm going to just respect both of us to take a step back. And when you're in a better place to talk, I'd love to have that conversation. And if I never hear back from you, I'm sorry, that's where things are. But that's you literally put in physical space, mental space, emotional space. Sometimes you have to go legal space. You can't help everybody, and you definitely cannot help someone who is weaponized against you and all they want to do is destroy you. Then it's like, that's not really an option for me. So I guess I'm going to just relocate myself out of your physical space, out of your life as much as I possibly can.
Awesome. So what would you tell somebody who came to seek out your services who said, hey, Jeremy, I'm so defensive with everybody in my life and I don't know why? What tools would you give them to stop doing that so much?
Well, first thing is that's incredible awareness. Good job taking that step, because that says you're realizing you have the power in this situation because you're causing this impact. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's start to work on unravel. So tell me more about, and I'm going to start to unpack specific moments of impact, specific, conflicts that they're having with the people. And we'll run it from you, your relationship to your childhood. We'll talk about you and your most social intimate, whether that's a husband or wife, children. Then we'll go to friends. Then we'll go to profession. So we're building basically a lattice work around this person, or a web around this person of impact. And we're looking for patterns, because success leaves clues, but our mindset leaves clues. What belief systems is this person running in? Where is the scarcity? Where is the wound? Where is the don't go there places? That's where the work needs to happen, right? So when somebody's caught up in patterns of fault, blame, guilt, or shame, or they're creating unwinnable games, all of that is inner child work. There's something that is not safe for their inner child to experience, to be aware of, to deal with, to address, or they feel disempowered to do those things. That's generally where we'll start to do the work. And how can we make it safe for that inner child to come back out, get the understanding, get the forgiveness, and get the emotional release, so that we can stop living fault and blame, guilt and shame, and unwinnable games. We're going to unravel that. And the antidote to all of that is something called ownership. It's the ability to go, I did this and I see the impact. What can I do to heal the impact? That's really where we would start to do the work, because as long as stuff lives in your unconscious mind, it will control you, and you'll never know why. You'll never know how. It's just these little landmines that show up and blow up in your life. And you're like, I don't know. I self-sabotaged again. I don't know what I did. And it's because that inner child is still going, I don't deserve to be loved. I don't deserve to be respected. All that good stuff that I want in my life, I don't deserve that. So I'm going to implode to keep me away from it, because that's what I really deserve, is to be miserable. Well, that's BS, a belief system. Let's see what we can do to rewire it, okay?
I like that. I love your BS. I love it. BS, belief system. I love that framing of it. Awesome. So I have heard this before many times, where people say that a lot of times as we're growing through or going through life, right, we're, packing our suitcases full of with concrete of all of these past traumas and things that have happened, things that have gone wrong, the way people mistreated us. And then throughout our lives, we just carry these concrete suitcases with us all around everywhere we go, and never realizing that we could just put those down and dismiss that and move forward. Have you heard that before? And what would you say about that comment?
Yeah, that's a frame and a metaphor that I've heard before. And it can be true, absolutely. But it's a lot of times it's living in a default. Like, we don't know we have a choice that we could make, because, like, take the word trauma, right? There's people now that the word trauma is becoming traumatizing. So you can't say that either, because, well, I'm going to lose my control and go bananas. And it's like, well, maybe it wasn't trauma. Maybe it was a moment of impact. Maybe it was a significant emotional event, right? We can re-language the words to the things that we carry. And the same thing with the stuff we carry with us. Like, if I'm going to carry this thing with me, you could do that. You could carry those memories. You could carry those stories. But what would be better, to carry the story and the structure around it, or to carry the learnings and let go of the story and let go of that past moment, that past impact? And you keep the learnings and you move forward. And then you go, what kind of learnings? Because, I learned that you can't trust those people back there. And it's like, well, if you put the learnings about other people, you don't have any control. And if it's in the negative, you're going to unconsciously move away from it. And if it's focused on the past, that's not where you're going in your life. And so staying held on to other people, the past, or the negative will keep you stuck on the things that you don't want. And that's where that baggage never gets unpacked. When we begin to go through it and say, well, let me take the lesson and let go of it, then we start to look at, how did I show up? What could I learn? What could I do different? What standards? What communication? And we can look at it in the positive and go, well, what a great opportunity to get this now versus live this way another 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 years. And we look at applying it towards the future. So when you can do self, positive, and future, that's how we begin to really let go of this stuff. And, at one point in my life, I had this thing that happened, but, I understood if I had approached it this way, or if I had set these things in place, and now I look at my life and I do things this way and it's so much better. That's a more freeing space to live in. And so we can begin to let go of that baggage, because a belief ultimately is just a feeling of certainty about what something means. And we only know that stuff. We only know those beliefs because, like legs of a table, there's references to support it. I know this belief is true because this thing happened, and this thing happened, and this thing happened. And as we begin to change those references, we begin to change the belief as well. And we can begin to believe something new. That's what I had to do when I was 5 and 6 years old. And I believed that I wasn't safe, and I believed I was worthless, and I believed I needed to be punished. Well, that belief system drives a certain life. But at the same time, I was protective of people who were younger than me and smaller than me. I was massively intelligent, very observational, very willing to take action, very dynamic. So there was a lot of good stuff that I had to delete in me to tell that story of I'm worthless and I'm going to be rejected and I'm going to be hurt. And so I've got to make people reject me on my terms, not theirs. Those are two massively different stories, and they lead to two massively different lives. And so that's when I hear that thing about baggage, I'm like, but you could just choose to unpack it. And when would now be a good time to start unpacking it?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, you know so much about all of this work. It seems like you're just like every question I could imagine asking, I have no doubt that you could answer it 100%. What is your favorite part of doing this type of work?
My favorite thing is when people begin to forgive themselves for how they showed up, and they begin to appreciate themselves and respect themselves and even admire themselves, not from an egocentric overcompensation, but just like, I'm a dang good person. And I forgot that, or I never saw that before, because they show up more playful. They show up more present. And if you can be playful and be present, the type of power that you put into the people around you, it's fun to be around. And because I do so much work with families and couples, seeing that joy amplified, because you get a mom and a dad who appreciate each other, admire each other, respect each other, admire, appreciate themselves, their kids begin to grow up in that standard where people verbalize appreciation. Hey, thanks. That was really helpful. That meant a lot. And you can see an entire pivot because we found new ways to own who we are, and where we're going, right? There's a great line from Ogmandino. He said, we're not human beings, we're human becomings. And that idea that it's open, we can always grow. Yeah, the past brings you to now, but things like this conversation, this podcast can take you to a whole new trajectory in life if you're willing to take those thoughts and then act on them and play with your beliefs.
Hi, my name is Andrew Fraley, and I believe that sometimes we all need a little bit of help. If you're in the San Antonio community and you need some legal help, call me at 210-725-4658.
I love that. Well, it seems like that would make a generational impact. If you get parents to talk kinder to each other and be grateful for each other, then the kids see that, they model it, they model what they see, then they treat other people that way, then they get married and they treat their spouse that way, and then they have kids, and so on, so on. You see how that goes. And it's all about making an impact, which is what this show is all about. So now I'm going to switch off to my impact questions that I ask every guest. Can you tell the audience an example of a time in your life where somebody did something little for you that might have just been, a little give on their end, but really made an impact on you and in your life?
Yeah, I ended up marrying her. And it was my now wife. On our very first time hanging out, there was a band playing a song up the street from where we were. And I said, oh, I love that song. But it was like a business thing, and she was working and I wasn't. And I was thinking like, she has to blah, 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 have these rules about what was appropriate for her. But she heard me, she heard the song and said, well, let's listen to it before it ends. And she reached to grab my hand, and not even waiting for me, she was already moving. And the idea that somebody listened to what I said, registered it, appreciated it, took action on it. Like, who is this woman? What was that? And literally it pivoted my whole entire world, because there was nothing there to gain. There was no manipulation. She was just completely in the moment with me and available and playful. And I was just like, holy hippie snit, this lady is amazing. And it made me want to spend more time with her and be more just what is this exactly? Because so many people I had met, oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, it's a good song. And they just completely ignore it. And like what I said landed, and she took action, and it literally opened up a whole new way of relationships for me. And we got married in 6 months. We've been married now 10 years, and we're coming up on 11. And the day that happened was 5 days from today.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. What a great story. You really truly never know how much what you do impacts others, whether it be your words, your gestures, something beautiful like that. You just never really know how it's going to hit the other person. So it's important to always grasp those moments and really make that impact wherever you possibly can. Thank you for sharing that beautiful story. Okay, well, will you tell the audience an example of something little they can do in their community that might just be a little give on their end, but might make a big impact on the other side?
This is one that will mess with your head, but it's like such a beautiful, simple thing. Starting today, going forward, just tell people what they did right. That's it. Just tell them what they did right, what you liked about it. Oh, hey, thanks. That was really helpful. Hey, that was really wonderful. Hey, this was really fantastic. I appreciate this. Tell people the things they did right, because so many people only ever get energy when they're doing something wrong, right? The kid runs away and gets yelled at, but the kid listening and paying attention, where's mom and dad jumping up and down, giving them high fives and excited? So you're at a store, you're at a restaurant, someone holds the door, somebody is good at their job. Just say, hey, you're doing a fantastic job. I really appreciate you being here. You made this experience fantastic. 10, 15, 20 words, but you put that positive light into someone else and it lifts them a little bit. And then how are they going to show up in that job or that experience or that moment or the rest of their day? And it's such a fun thing to watch people light up, because so few people get compliments anymore, it seems.
Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful example. I have 6 kids, and some of my daughters laugh at me because I'll go to the store and somebody bags your groceries, and I'll be like, thank you so much, Caleb. And then my daughter, why'd you say his name? That's weird. I'm like, it's not weird. That's showing I see you. I'm grateful for you. I just think there's those little things you can do, and it's not weird. And it is amazing to go ahead and compliment somebody for what they're doing right. Because I agree with you 100%, especially like in the workforce. And like you said, even parenting, oftentimes, you're quick to get upset or spend a lot of energy on a child who's not doing well in school or not doing great at going to bed on time or not doing. But whenever it comes to those little tiny good things that they do throughout the day, those kind of get overlooked and only highlight the bad. So I love that little gift. That's a really, really great example.
Absolutely. Well, the thing I've heard is it takes 3 positives to override 1 negative. And that just brings you back to 0 biochemically. Like we're wired to respond to stress hormones way more than pleasure hormones. So if it takes 3 positives to 1 negative, that means positives to get in momentum. So if your kid messes up and you yell at them, call that 10 units of energy, you now have to do 40 units of energy to get them moving in positive directions again. But very few of us do that. And I'll throw myself in there too, that I'm not perfect at it either. But it's like, oh my gosh, that was fantastic. You did such an amazing job. I love that. You're such a smart kid. High five.
Yeah.
Dude, I just put my socks away. I know. And your mom yells at me about my socks. So thank you for not being me. You rock, kid.
Yeah. It's just those little things like that. I love that you are vulnerable in saying that, you know what, I'm not perfect either. And that's the truth, is none of us are perfect. But the thing is when we know better, we could do a little better, just
Exactly.
as long as we stay on that trajectory of just trying to do a little bit better every day. I think there's so much power in being imperfect as well and acknowledging that. So I am just so grateful that you came on today. Why don't you tell the audience where they can get to know more about you and seek out your services?
So the nice thing is I'm the only Jeremy Roadruck on the internet, so I'm really freaking easy to find. And there's only about 300 Roadrucks on the planet anyway. So there's jeremyroadruck.com. I'm most active on Facebook. And then if you guys want to listen to some of the perspectives I have on TikTok, I have short form content, so all about a minute long kind of things. And then if you want to go over to YouTube, on my YouTube channel, I have long form comments. So I have somewhere between like 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. As well as some guided meditations if you're feeling stressed out or overwhelmed by life and you just need a voice to kind of help get you back calm and centered. I've got a lot of tools, a lot of resources. The world I live in, pain is part of the deal. Suffering is optional because it's self-generated. So how can we unpack that stuff that makes us suffer and we can appreciate the journey we're going through? That's really the game I like to play. And I'm all over the internet. I'm not shy.
So are there any nonprofits that you're excited about?
Yeah, actually, I have been heavily involved with a group called Fathering Together, and they are started with about 5 dads who got together and said, "Hey, let's do this parenting thing." And they built a Facebook group, and then a couple other things merged, and now they have a group called Dads with Daughters that's over 125,000 members on Facebook. And last time I saw stats, more than half of the members are active every single month. They have trainings, they have courses, they have information to really help dads or anybody identifying as a dad to be just more about how to show up in your family, be present, be playful. They've got a podcast that's going and they're doing a lot of really good work. So I always try to take a chance to talk about Fathering Together. It's a good group. That's all there is I can say about it. Like, just go check it out. If you're a dad, you want to do better at dadding, go check out fatheringtogether.org.
That's a nonprofit that we have not heard about yet on the show. So thank you so much for featuring that. That's awesome. And what a great service to be needed. I mean, so many people out there always want to be better parents, right? And where do you go to get that support whenever you are a father of a daughter? So what a great nonprofit. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Awesome. So everybody out there, if you would like to go find out more about that nonprofit, please go to their website, find out more. If it's something you're passionate about and you want to get behind, please do. Go donate $1. $5 can really make a big impact to these nonprofits. We've seen it happen from this audience before. Please do get involved. On any nonprofit that you know and love, please find out the various ways that you can get involved and help and spread their message. Thank you so much for being on, Jeremy. Could you give us some parting words before we go?
Yeah, we're all worm food waiting to happen. So don't wait until somebody has become worm food to appreciate them. Tell them the stuff you like and love and admire about them now. Appreciation will always beat expectation, obligation, and entitlement. So how can you be more appreciative of every single moment? And I'm lucky. I, at one point, was hospitalized for a collapsed lung. So I know what it's like to have a tube in your side, on medicines and a bunch of stuff. So every day I go to bed and I don't have machines that go ping and I don't have someone waking me up every 2 hours to check my vitals. It's a good freaking night. And so that's what helps keep me in a place of appreciation. So what can you do for yourself to make it easier to appreciate your life and the people that are in it?
Love it. Could not have said it better myself. Thank you so much for being on, Jeremy. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I know the audience is going to take a lot for it. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. We really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the show and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Little Give. If you would like to learn more about how I highlight ordinary people doing extraordinary things to help others, or maybe you'd like to be a guest, or maybe you know a nonprofit that you would like to see featured on a future episode of Little Give, you can find all the information on our website at littlegive.com. If you'd like to get involved with our kindness clip segment, please do send in those videos. Send them via email to cindy@littlegive.com, or you can tag us on any social media under Cindy Whitteman or #LittleGive. If you'd like to know more about our podcast, you can also find us on all major streaming platforms under Little Give Podcast. Please do find our Facebook group under Little Give TV show and join it. We'd love to keep you up to date with future episodes. Thank you all so much for watching, and I can't wait to highlight the next ordinary person doing extraordinary things to help others. See you next time.